What's happening with you, man?
I'm chilling. How are you?
I'm all right. Just working, you know what I'm saying? Some more of it. You feel me?
I do feel you.
Yeah, making them ends meet.
Yo, Dre, you worked on that Buzz Lightyear movie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, man, that was incredible.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. It got mixed reviews for a whole bunch of different reasons, but I think for me, I think what happened was it was a sci-fi film and not an animation film. Do you know what I mean? And I think, Pixar is known for animation, right? They're not known for like doing something steeped in like a certain type of genre, right? Because animation's like its own genre. To me, Buzz Lightyear felt like a straight sci-fi film. So I think people weren't ready for that. They were like, okay, we're supposed to get something from Pixar that's Pixar-esque, but it wasn't. You know what I mean?
Interesting.
And so I
I
think
just I remember like just geeking out on like the cinematography. It just looked
oh
insane.
yeah. And yeah, insane. The director, Angus, man, his eye for sci-fi is pretty incredible. It's he saw little things in designs, from one object to the next that was just very minor. But then when you put those notes in to the to whatever asset you're working on, it just made it better. And yeah, it was a tough show, but it was fun to work on though. I've always wanted to work. I'm a sci-fi nut, so I've always wanted to work on sci-fi.
I mean, so I technically am entering sci-fi now. Right before Beast Chain, I was thinking about doing a movie called Protect Castle, and that's like a sci-fi post-apocalyptic espionage thriller.
Hmm.
I actually got all the way up to casting and having a script read before it kind of stalled and it hasn't kind of moved forward. But I already have the location, so I already know that I'm entering the realm of sci-fi as probably my next real focus from horror.
Got you.
Yeah,
Okay.
either that, because I do love sci-fi so much, or I might do like a movie about a slave revolt.
Listen, you got me a slave revolt.
I know.
You got me a because uh what was Nate Parker's film he did about Nat
Birth of a
Turner,
Nation.
Birth of a
Birth of a
Nation.
Nation.
Man, listen, that whew, because
I really
I'm
like that movie. I don't know. It got bad reviews and there's all this stuff with it too, right? I like
well,
the movie.
let's be clear. When he decided to do that, the powers that be were already, putting things together to sabotage the success of that film. But
Hmm.
me and you talked about the whole gatekeeper thing, right?
Yeah.
And how we shouldn't be focused on any of that. That movie is gonna do what it's supposed to do, which is like any of my young people will be seeing that movie,
Hmm.
and they're gonna understand that there were Africans that were enslaved that wasn't about that life, and they took matters into their own hands. That's
True.
what he made that movie for, right?
Hmm.
People like me are going to make sure that movie's going to do what it's supposed to do. So it doesn't matter what the powers that be do. Doesn't matter. They can do whatever the
That's
hell they
true.
want. You
That's
know what I'm
true.
saying? Because my young folks is going to see it,
Yeah.
so
No,
they can say whatever the hell they want.
me too. Me too.
Yeah, they could do the character assassination, or bring up stuff from his past or whatever. Doesn't matter. He told the story of Nat Turner. My people gonna see it, and then they people gonna
Mhm.
see it. So they can do whatever the hell they want. They ain't
I
they ain't,
respect
they ain't
that.
gonna stop. They ain't gonna stop the bum rush, man.
Let me ask you this straight. That actually brings me to an interesting thought that I've thought about, but I love to ask you this. I'm happy you know, just keep it casual, but it is better that way. So Cosby, then you got Kelly, R. Kelly,
Mm-hmm.
then you got potentially who else, whatever. Are you about kind of like separating the artist from the music or the TV show or like the movie when it comes to your kids? Like, would your kids watch the Cosby Show, or will you show your kids the Cosby Show?
See, and this is pretty simple, right? That question brings up everything in history, right?
Mm-hmm.
Think about it this way: the Romans had the aqueduct, right?
Mm-hmm.
They invented that. It's amazing, right? But we also know they did some other things. Do we just forget that they invented the aqueduct?
No.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, right?
Mm-hmm.
People are multifaceted. People are complicated. You're gonna have people that do incredible things, and they also do horrible things. You know what I'm saying? So for me, R. Kelly's situation, he was a foul brother for doing this, but he was also a musical genius. It's those both things live in him. You know what I'm saying? So to say that a song like he did about Dedicated, the song he did about his mom.
Yeah, he did a bunch of good songs.
That's what we'll just take this one, Dedicated, about his mom, right? You have given me the best of you. You made all my dreams come true. I mean, that song, are you gonna say just because of what happened that song somehow is tied into that? That makes no sense. He made a song dedicated to his mom, right? So that song is still a dedication to his mother. And the same with the Cosby Show. What Cosby did to those women doesn't mean that the Cosby Show doesn't have a positive effect on young black youth. Now, the cold thing is we have to live with that. We have to live with that. We're like, damn, Cosby did this, but he also did this. It feels strange. You know what I'm saying? Because when you put somebody on a pedestal, you want them to stay there, right? That's just the truth about it, right? Like, look at the four tyrants of I don't call them the forefathers of this country. I call them the four tyrants because they ain't my pops. But look at the so-called forefathers of this country. They say Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation, you know what I'm saying, and which caused chattel slavery to be ended, blah blah blah. But he also did some other things.
Fact.
You know what I'm saying? But he did sign that. Why he signed it? That's a different story, right? But he did sign that.
I mean, they always say, even with the 4th of July, you know, I've thought about this, the idea of like, okay, we're celebrating the independence of our nation. But in all reality, only part of it. Black people were still not independent. And then the idea of like during the American Revolutionary War, well, it was actually the British that freed slaves if you were fighting in the army. And then when
the colonial Marines. The colonial Marines.
And then when they realized, oh, these slaves are making a big difference, they're really killing us, they're like, oh, we got to do the same thing. And then America started freeing their slaves.
That's what I'm saying. Exactly. It's all very complicated. So can you separate the art from the artist, man? If you go back and look at any artist, you're going to find like me, if people learn more about me, I mean, I put my stuff out there because I ain't tripping. They're going to find out that I went to prison.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And if people want to reduce me down to that one moment, okay, well, kiss my whole ass and get to moving.
Dre, you know what's dope about it? You had mentioned that before too. We had that like really inspirational call we had right when I started Beast Chain and right when Buzz Lightyear was about to go down. Remember?
Yep.
It hadn't come out yet. But it's interesting because Beast Chain stars Jeremy Meeks, and he is Prison Bang. Remember him?
Yeah, and let me tell you something, man. When I saw, because I remember back in the day when the meme happened, right?
Yeah.
And then when I saw him get a modeling contract, I said, get your paper, brother. Get your damn paper, man. Because I know firsthand what that does to your life. You know what I'm saying?
It's a challenge. It is a huge challenge.
And the reason why it's a challenge is not because of, you know, when you go into the pen, you know, I used my time. I didn't do my time. Let's be clear. I don't do time. I use time. So when I use my time, that wasn't the hard part. The hard part is when you get out and you deal with people's unconscious biases or conscious biases, however you want to, you know, because some people, they're consciously making those decisions. You're dealing with that, and people always want to reduce you down to one moment, and it's usually the worst moment, especially if you're black. You know what I'm saying? As a black man, I'm outspoken. My mouth can be kind of sharp sometimes. You know what I'm saying? So I know that it's easy for people to reduce me down to that. So that's the hard part. So when I saw him get that first look, I'm like, hell yeah. I wish good for that brother, man. Real talk. Yeah, I actually, and it's funny, I just before I saw the trailer to your new film, I was actually just watching an interview with Jeremy. Like maybe a month ago. Yeah, and I'm just like, man, I'm happy for that brother, man, because I know he for the rest of his life, he was going to be in for a world of hurt dealing with that, you know, having to combat, trying to just carve out a life for yourself while having this in your past. Because it was the same for me. This one person just didn't give a damn about my past and hired me. You know what I'm saying?
It always takes an opportunity and a chance. And really, it also starts with, you know, who you are and who you become. And I'm really starting to think about this idea of like me in my personal life. I was in Boston and I had this pit in my stomach. I just felt as though there was so much more out there, more of my potential that somehow was not reaching. And I don't know. I didn't have an answer why though. I don't know if it was the mindset, if it was my age. I don't know. I needed something more. So I moved to Philadelphia, and obviously I spent more time, you know, in the more rough places. I like to play ball there. I like to get my hair cut there. I like to get food there, whatever. I like to hang out there. But where I lived, where my day-to-day was like in the middle of this really posh, wealthy area of Philadelphia. So everyone I interacted with daily, including some of my housemates or people that lived in the same condominium as me, were like these really high-level, Ivy League educated professionals. And it changed the way I viewed things, and it changed the way I thought about things and my approach to things. And I realized, you know, where I was at that time, how I used my time in that circumstance, led to who I am today. And it's very similar. The idea of who you personally are plays a big role in what comes out of it. Because as you know, there are people that do time in certain areas and they wind up right back.
Oh yeah, 100%. And it's definitely, and I gotta give credit to all the people that just took the time to give a damn about me. You know what I'm saying? And there's a lot of them. It's a lot. It's a big list. We'd be here all day if I listed everybody on that list, or if I said all the names. And that's what I always say. My success, and I think anyone's success, is twofold. It's your work and your dedication, but then it's also the people around you giving you a platform and giving you knowledge and wisdom and guidance. Those things coming together is where a success is formed. You know what I'm saying? Because I could be working my ass off, but if people choose to ignore my work, if people choose to ignore my worth, if they choose to ignore what I can bring to the table, what does it matter? And they can, right? People can choose to ignore me. You know what I'm saying? Just like people could choose to ignore you. People could have chosen to ignore Cosby.
Yeah.
Sure. Right? And then what? You know what I mean? So I think the success is just not using your time, but people also coming in thinking that you're worth their time.
Well said. Well said, Drew. I'm eager to show you the trailer.
Let's do it. I'm down.
And before we do so, I want to thank you, because even with that last sentiment, it's like you gave a damn about me. And that's how we started. When you were
absolutely
podcasting so much more. So like I'm thankful that you gave a damn about me. And so we started our journey when I was looking for funds for this movie. That's really where it started.
And I remember we were talking about that. And it was like, yeah, I'm currently looking for the funds. And matter of fact, before we get to the trailer, we are not going to gloss over the fact that we know how hard this stuff is. Like, I'm in animation. All my stuff is in a computer. You had to physically convince people to come together, bring equipment, lights, all this other stuff, right? Wake up in the morning. People are tired. They don't feel like getting up. You did all that, and you made a piece of art. That in and of itself is a feat, period. So that's already a win. You know what I'm saying? And I think a lot of times we lose sight of that kind of stuff, because I think when you get to a certain level in your respective field, whatever it is, people forget that the tenacity that it takes to even make the thing is worth celebration. You know what I'm saying? So, hats off to you for even getting over that finish line, man. That's real.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. Yeah, it was. So this is probably the most fun I've ever had making a film, because it was the hardest film I ever made. And it is so funny to me, because I thought it was going to be the easiest film to make.
Okay. So you got caught off guard. You got caught off guard a little bit.
Right. It was so shockingly hard when I thought it was going to be so easy, I used to laugh about it. It used to be like a running joke I'd make. Like, this is going to be so easy, and it's such a great idea, and it's so cheap. And it turned out to be the hardest thing, one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life, honestly. And
so I guess that means this gave you the most growth then.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, let me put on my, hold on. Let me put on my, you know, I'm of age, even though I don't look like it.
You know black don't crack, Ray. You know the vibes.
So yeah, black don't crack. Definitely not. It's a shame we can't bottle this stuff and sell it, but I guess if we could, we wouldn't sell it anyway. Yeah, some people don't. Some people
try to steal it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna play the trailer. How do I see? If I can show you to you. Okay, I can see you. I'm gonna play a trailer. And maybe you can stop. Tell me stop.
Yeah, I don't hear volume though.
Oh, right. One moment. Okay. My video clip. Put the volume up. So, do you want to watch it one whole time and then talk about it? Or do you want to stop it as it's going and then talk about things you like or things you don't like? Or let's
do one all the way through.
Okay.
And then we can go shot by shot if you like. There we go. There's the sound. There's the sound.
I don't know how this happened. I don't even understand how this can be possible. All I know is I want to go back home. I can't do this without my family. You can help, right?
I'm gonna get some water.
I got you.
Which one of you pieces just got my phone? Is there a doctor here? Anybody? Is there a doctor?
And then people started waking up at different times and freaking out. But you were the last one to wake up, and I thought you should know. No, the preacher was the first. I was the second.
There's a preacher here?
Yeah, some guy walking around with the Bible, but I think there's something there.
Why are you telling me this?
I was desperate for a book of Revelation for you. I got on that cliff and I jumped, but here I am with your pizza out on it. In my hands is your fate, destiny. We are not animals. We are not beasts.
I am the HNIC.
Order over murder.
Wait! I'm ready to die.
Okay. One thing I'll say right now off the bat, I like the fact that the trailer doesn't show you the movie. A lot of times trailers will give you the whole movie in the trailer. It's like, okay, why am I supposed to watch why should I watch the movie? You know what I'm saying? So I like the fact that the trailer doesn't give you the movie. It just gives you enough to say what the hell is going on. So that was the first thing. I think when you shifted tone with the color, when it shifted to monochromatic palette, I think you should only give a little bit of that. Just like maybe one or two shots and that's it. Yeah, because once you changed to that monochromatic palette, it jarred me, and you should have left me right there. You should have just cut it right there. You know what I mean? because then I kind of forgot about where they were at on the beach. Everybody was kind of confused. Now I'm shifting over into this different mindset of, okay, here's where the movie's going. So now I'm thinking about this, and I stopped thinking about this over here. So I think maybe only a couple of shots of that would have been cool, and then cut it right there. Seeing Jeremy on screen, man, that's like, that always gives me vibes, because like I said, I know what he's been through. So, and I can't wait to see how his career just keeps growing and growing. But I like what you got so far. I want to see what this is about. It felt like some Lord of the Flies thing going on. And then there's another movie I watched a little while ago called, I think it was called Meat. I think, yeah, MEAT, Meat. And I got vibes of that. So I'm already in, because it already looks like something that's up my alley. You know what I'm saying? Because I like sci-fi, I like horror, I like slasher films, and I was getting all of that in there.
Well, so what were your thoughts? Because Jeremy played Jeremy, as you can see, is a villain, right? So what were your thoughts?
Maybe.
Oh, right.
I didn't. That's what I'm saying. I didn't get that. I saw like quick cuts, but I don't know if he's an antagonist or a protagonist. I don't know. And that's what I'm saying. You hit good with the trailer, because you're not telling me who he is yet. I just saw a few shots, and it was enough to say, okay, he plays a pivotal part. But where he lands on a moral polarity sense, I don't know.
Wow, that was incredible. Wow. Yes. Yeah. And so the way, what's brilliant about what you just said is the way we introduce him is with his face half covered in sand.
Yeah.
Which is like, which side does he stand?
Yeah. I was picking up on all that. Yeah. So the only thing I could tell from the trailer is that he plays a pivotal role. That's all I could tell. I can't tell anything else. And of course, we know a lot of times we're misjudged just from what we look like, right? Mm-hmm. So I bring that lens, and I bring that kind of mindset into films when I see a black man at the forefront. I'm like, well, looks can be deceiving, as we know, because we suffer that day to day.
I love that. What's your thoughts on in terms of the whole pregnancy thing? Because one of the things I liked about it is, in terms of timing, was the Roe versus Wade. So we added a pregnancy element, and we showcased that in the trailer. Like, what's one of the first thing that pops up after you see all these beautiful women, and then you see that there's some chains and stuff. What's your take on that and that element? Does that draw you at all? Or did that draw you?
That definitely hit me, as I know that's definitely going to be a pivotal moment as well, because I mean, anytime, we're nurturing human beings, especially when it comes to, kids and whatnot, you know what I'm saying? So for a woman to be trapped in a situation like that, and she's pregnant, yeah, that's going to tighten the screws, right? Immediately. Because I know me personally, I'm like, okay, we got to make sure we're watching over this lady more so than like myself, but some other people might not see it that way. So that can, right there's some serious tension happening. So yeah, I like the fact that the people that are on the beach, you can tell they come from different walks of life, which means all these walks of life are now going to clash under this specific circumstance, which always makes for good cinema, right? It's exactly. Just, yeah. So I'm excited to see where you're going with it. Let me get the movie, man. Give me the movie. Let me see the movie.
Here's the thing, right? It was like with the trailer and some of the reactions. For the most part, a lot of people liked it, but there was definitely the idea of, I've heard people be like, "Yo, what's it about?" Well, what's it about? I don't know. I don't know. And I kept on thinking to myself, "Yo, people are so spoiled. Like, it's a mystery." If you go onto the IMDb right now, you go on the Beast Chain IMDb, it says a mystery, a mysterious element. If you go onto the movie trailers YouTube description, it says a mysterious element brings them together, and they have to deal with these mysterious situations. It's a mystery. You're never supposed to know what.
I just had this conversation. I was talking to a friend of mine, I think it was like a few days ago, and we were talking about how cinema has kind of morphed. Entertainment in general has morphed into, it's all become kind of bubblegum to like the average viewer, and you and I know that entertainment can be much more than that, life changing, right? there's certain movies out there that we can think back on that changed the trajectory of how we look at the world. You know what I'm saying? Or how
Roots,
yeah.
For me, Roots and Titanic changed everything.
There you go. There's one movie that I used to watch as a kid called Explorers. I don't know if you've seen Explorers. I forgot. No. I think Spielberg directed it. It was like a few group of kids catch a signal from somewhere, right? And this signal, one of the kids is a genius, of course. They're able to contact the signal, or they're able to talk to it and communicate back and forth. Lo and behold, it's aliens. But the alien that they were talking to was the child alien. So they're kids talking to a kid.
Incredible.
But it's an alien though, but it is a kid though. You know what I'm saying? And you realize that towards the end of the film, the parent alien comes out and is scolding the kid. And there's one moment where one of the kids from Earth says, "That's the father." I'm like, how do you know that? And he said, I know that look from anywhere, because his dad would always scold him. Yeah. You know? So like that movie changed me in thinking that even though I'm so young, my imagination could be so massive, and I could do great things with this imagination. You know? So like movies used to people looked at films as being a source of becoming or a source of ascension, you know, or like a source of messaging. Now everything is very much like just entertainment. You know, people are like, oh, I just want to turn my brain off and be entertained. So yeah, I like seeing stuff like this when it's like, don't tell me, like get me, you know, as my grandma said, wet my whistle. Wet my whistle, goddamn it. Yeah, get me excited. So yeah, so I like the fact that you didn't tell everything. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, the trailer to me looks it's intriguing, but it's also confusing, and that's what I want. I want to be kind of stuck in a state until I see the film. That's the whole point of a trailer. You know what I'm saying?
I agree. And that was my hopes. My hopes that it gave you enough diversity and enough things you like to be intrigued enough to watch it, knowing that you don't have all the information.
100%. And I like the fact that you said you had the most fun making your current project, because when it comes down to it, you know, we love putting our work out there for the people to you know, absorb it and take what they want to take from it. But it's important for us to do the things that keep our spirit alive, right, as artists. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So when I heard you say that you had the most fun making the film, already I'm good. I'm good, because that's what I want for any person that makes art, right? I'm an artist first. If you had fun making what you were making, I'm happy for you, period.
A lot of fun.
Yeah, and what comes after that, it's like out of our hands, right? Yeah, so I don't bother with that too much.
What's scary, and you know, I was telling some of my film friends, I'm like, yo, this is the catalyst. This is the moment that is going to, like, I now know my next 3 or 4 films are going to be like bananas because of Beast Chain. Like, I've learned so much. And like I just told you, like, my next movie is going to be either a slave revolt or like a hardcore sci-fi. So, like, I'm so ready to go from this to the very next level. And it was because of what I learned. Yeah. It's very scary. I think where I'm at right now with my craft. I think after Beast Chain, it's a wrap.
It's funny you use the word scary. I went to when I first started my career, I went to this interview at Massive Black. It's I don't even think they're more than a VFX company. They do everything, but they were in San Francisco. And I interviewed with this concept designer. You can look him up. His name's Andrew Jones. Dude is like, he's top tier. You know what I'm saying? I interviewed with him and I was nervous. And I told him, I said, man, if I'm stuttering, it's because I'm nervous. And he said, man, I'm jealous. I'm like, what are you jealous of? He said he's been in his career for so long, he no longer gets nervous. He said, hold on to that, Dre. He said, because that's when you know things are important, when you're nervous, when you get scared. That's when you know that's for you. You know what I'm saying? And immediately I was no longer nervous once he said that. But when I hear people say I'm scared, like, I get excited for them. Because that's where you're gonna feel alive, right? That's where you're gonna that's where you're gonna grab the stars out the sky. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That's where you're gonna capture. That's when you're gonna capture a tornado in a jar, like crazy shit. That's true. It's that moment, right? No matter what happens after, nobody can take that from you. That's yours. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, salute to you, man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
No, Dre, so I already know you and I are going to have a lot more conversations coming up next year because I'm going to hopefully pick your brain. One, because your brain is a lot to pick. You really know your shit beyond just the professional scope. But if you just look at, in the personal mental scope, I think it's important for Black men to be exposed to other Black men that have their shit on right, but can dive deeper than surface level conversation.
Absolutely.
We can discuss deeper things.
We got a lot of things to unlearn, man. You know what I'm saying? In the community, and it's okay. You know what I'm saying? We were dealt a fucked up hand, and we've been programmed and engineered to think a certain way, and of course that was all by design.
Yeah.
But we gonna get it right. You know,
we're getting it right though. It's getting better.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's getting better. We're out here.
We're definitely getting it right, man. It's funny you say that because I reached out to one of my peoples that I ain't talked to in years. Like it had been maybe like 6-7 years.
Mm-hmm.
I reached out to him and was like, and when we talked, it was like we talked yesterday. You know what I'm saying? And he was like, man, so what prompted you just to reach out? I said, you know what? I'm getting older, getting a little wiser. You know what I'm saying? And I said, I need to start keeping the right people close. You know what I'm saying? Because it's about the energy that you take into yourself, right? You got to be careful about the energy that you take into yourself. You got to be careful about the people that you have around. And he's a good brother. He's the type of dude that he'll come around you and turn you around. If you're having a bad day, he'll turn you around.
I'm about that life too. Yeah, I'm all about that too. Inspirational and like super positive. I thought
he's so good at that. And I said, yeah, man, I just want to make sure I keep the right people in my life. You know what I'm saying? I was like, I should have been talking to you more, but of course you get caught up with work, paying bills, yada, 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 right? Checking the boxes, whatever. I said, but you know what? I got to start being more cognizant of keeping in touch with the right people. He was like, man, I feel you on that, Dre. And so now we're talking again. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, the people, I always say power and responsibility are bedfellows, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when you open your eyes, you take those blinders off, you gain power, but then you also inherit the responsibility too. You can't just have the power and just keep it to yourself and just go do your own thing. I mean, come on now, you feel me? So I think that, yeah, more of us definitely need to come together, start talking, get rid of the ego stuff and that weird shit, because it just gets in the way of progress. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, we definitely.
I noticed one thing that I've come to appreciate about myself, and I like to look for others, and I definitely notice those that don't have this. It's the idea of finding pleasure, humble pleasure in someone else's success, someone else's happiness.
Damn right.
So I called my friend Terry. We've known each other since kindergarten, but we don't hang out all the time. We don't talk all the time. But when we do talk, it's all love. So I called my brother Terry. Not my little brother, you know what I mean. He just did a trip where he went to Italy, and I actually saw it when I was going through post-production. And I won't say I was down. I was just overworked, exhausted. Long hours during the day, long hours during the night. And when you're working at your desktop,
you focus.
You're focused, and whatever you're eating is kind of like whatever is like easy and quick to like maneuver while you're still at it. So even like my choice of food wasn't all there. Whatever the case was, I saw this dude living his best life on Facebook with his photos, and it brought so much joy, love into me at that moment.
Absolutely.
I was like, it was incredible. And I realized, this is really, this is what I love. I love to see other people happy and winning.
You know what that is?
So much about that.
So I learned about this term called Ubuntu. It comes from African culture. It's a word, Ubuntu. It means I am because we are. And that's it right there. That's it.
I am because
we are. Yeah.
Let's go.
And I stay with that, man. I stay with that. Like, I always know that any success I have is because it is due to people that came before me and the people that I met on my journey. And it also has to deal with the interconnectedness of all of that. It has nothing to do with, it's not just me. So I stick close to that. I stick close to that word, that phrase, that mindset, Ubuntu. I stick close to that, man. Because I don't want to be, I have a saying, if it's lonely at the top, I don't want to be there. Fuck the top. Fuck the top. Because I don't want to, I want to see all my people around me doing well too. You know what I'm saying? What kind of party is a party when you're the only one there? Nah, I don't want that. I don't want that. I'm cool.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
Good music, good company, good drinks. That's all I
Always. Always. Oh, don't forget the cannabis. I'm with the cannabis.
All right, you're with the cannabis.
That's me. That's me. But yeah, we definitely gonna be talking because I'm actually working on my own project now too. I'm writing and directing something.
Oh, I already knew that was coming up. You had a few things in the fire when we spoke.
Yeah.
Right before Beach Chain.
Yeah, this is I'm working on an animation short, and it's gonna be it's been tough, but I'm learning a lot. And again, that's the important thing, right? You're learning a lot, having a good time, making, you're connecting with people on all these different levels. That's the important thing. But the messaging behind the short is also going to be something that's very important to me too. And it's made for, it's made for us. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yes,
like
I'm with you.
yeah, it's anybody outside the community. I say if you want me to answer to you, you gotta pay admission first. So I ain't got no explanations for anybody else outside the community. If you're in the community, and what I mean by that, because all skin folk ain't your kinfolk. If you're really part of the community, then we can have a conversation. But if you're not, you got to pay admission first. You know what I'm saying? Because it ain't for you anyway. So no shade, no disrespect. I'm just I'm setting the expectation.
I respect it.
No doubt.
It. Dre, I appreciate your time. Much love, respect, and appreciation to you. I appreciate everything you said about the trailer. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, 100%. I wish you all the success, man. You know what I'm saying? I hope this movie travels around the world 4-5 times.
Me too.
No doubt.
Me too.
No doubt.
And I hope people listening to these conversations and take all of the gems you drop, because you really be saying some shit, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. You be saying some shit.
Hey, man, I gotta give it to all the OGs that took the time to give it to me, right? Because they're the ones that gave me the gems. Yeah. So what would I be if I kept them to myself?